Time after time, I come across salespeople who deal with the single most common challenge in sales, which is having great appointments. Most salespeople simply do not have enough great sales appointments in order to ultimately hit their sales goals. So it doesn't matter how great you are once you actually get in front of someone, whether it's on a Zoom or face-to-face, if you're not setting enough appointments, the sales stop. And one of the single best tools to setting appointments is the phone. So in this video, I'm going to show you 11 quick and easy phone sales techniques to set great appointments. Check it out. Number 1, leverage your calls. What this means is that the world of a pure cold call are truly dead. We don't need to be making pure cold calls. And by pure cold call, I mean making a dial to someone who has absolutely no idea who you are. We simply have so many other tools in our arsenal that can help us warm up that relationship, so that way by the time we actually get them on the phone, they at least have some idea as to who we are. That means you leverage your calls by making sure that you send out some emails before, or that you make a LinkedIn request. That way, by the time you get them on the phone, they're like, oh, okay, I at least know who this person is. Number 2, half of LinkedIn contacts give a cell phone number. LinkedIn is one of the least appreciated but best places to actually get good phone numbers. And of course, because today's world is so virtual, cell phone numbers are just the gold standard of making sure that you're actually going to get through to someone. So leveraging LinkedIn to connect with your prospects and then use that as a way to get high quality cell phone numbers is great. Of course, LinkedIn isn't the only way to get cell phone numbers. There are a number of ways that you can get phone numbers, but LinkedIn is one of the simplest and lowest cost ways to get those high quality phone numbers. Number 3, call when they open your email. This is a super ninja technique, and it makes a lot of people uncomfortable because it takes them a little out of their comfort zone. But your prospects are going to be opening your emails at some point, and chances are whatever email system you use is tracking that information. So when is the best time to make a call to follow up on an email? Right after they open the email. That way it's like, oh my God, your ear was burning and I just happened to get you just after you open that email. So that way, when you say, hey George, Mark Wayshack calling, does my name ring a bell? They're gonna say, actually, yeah, it does. And that is one of the most powerful times to actually make your dial. Number 4, have a script in front of you. This is so critical. We tend to think as salespeople that having a script makes us sound scripted, but that's not true at all. Being bad at using a script makes you sound scripted. But making a call without a script is actually the kiss of death, because what's going to happen is we're going to meander all over the place. Just record one of your prospecting calls and listen to yourself if you don't use a script. What you're going to find is it goes all over the place. We simply don't have in our brains the capacity to stay on track in a high pressure situation like that without a script. So just have a script in front of you. It's so simple and it's so easy, and it's going to allow you to be so much more effective on that call. Number 5, personalize your script. One of the most common pieces of criticism I get about the idea of using a script is that it's robotic and that you're just saying the exact same thing to every single person. But that doesn't have to be true. You can personalize your script. You can actually have personalization fields in your scripts. In our organization, we have highly personalized prospecting call scripts. So we're leveraging information like where they're located, what their title is, what their company name is, about them. Anything that can personalize the script can make it that much more powerful, and it just shows the person on the other end of the phone that you really have done your homework, and is going to make them much more likely to give you that next 30 seconds. Number 6, minimize research between dials. We actually separate out the person who's doing the research from the person who's doing the dials. And what this allows us to do is it allows us to be so much more efficient. Now, you may not have someone who's your own personal researcher, and that's okay. But what I would challenge you to do is do your research ahead of time and put that information in some kind of a document or your CRM ahead of time, and then make all of your dials in a row. So that way you're not taking that time in between between each dial to do your research, because it becomes a form of procrastination. If you're just making dial after dial after dial, you can make 50 to 60 dials in an hour. But if you're researching in between dials, you're not going to make more than 10 or so dials in an hour, which is a really, really low level of output and is realistically not going to lead to much in terms of actually setting appointments. So minimize that research in between your dials. Number 7, voicemail is part of your campaign. There's a lot of hate on voicemail that it doesn't work. And now, if your goal is for someone to return your voicemail, then yeah, maybe it isn't going to work. But that's not necessarily the goal of leaving a voicemail. The goal of leaving a voicemail is simply that the prospect realizes that there's a real human being on the other end of that phone, that there's a real human being who's been sending them those emails. So if you think of voicemail as another touch point in your overall campaign, it's just slowly but surely building that relationship. So don't be afraid to leave some voicemails as part of your campaign. It doesn't mean you leave a voicemail every single time you call them, because that can almost seem a little creepy. You're just doing too much. But 1, 2, maybe 3 voicemails over the course of a campaign with 20 or so touches, that's a really powerful touch point. Number 8, know your goal for the call. Understanding what your goal actually is with the call is really important. And realistically, your goal simply is to set an appointment for a proper discovery, or as we call, disqualification conversation. That's it. The goal is not to educate the prospect. It's not to become best friends. It's not to connect on a deeply personal level. It's simply to schedule an appointment. So knowing your goal is going to help streamline the script and the entire process for the call. Number 9, be willing to piss people off. Now, I know this may seem controversial, but you must be willing to annoy prospects. Of course, that isn't the goal of the prospecting call. Of course, the goal of your day is not to piss people off, but you must be willing to accept that there are going to be some people who you're going to catch who woke up on the wrong side of the bed, who you caught them at the wrong time, and they're going to be annoyed. And that's okay. That's okay. Give yourself that permission. Be willing to frustrate people and piss them off. Again, not the goal, but it is going to happen, and that's okay. Number 10, they can't hurt you. Remember, there are no bullets flying. There are no punches being thrown. They can't physically hurt you. All they can do is maybe say a mean thing or two. That's fine. But they can't physically hurt you, so there is no physical risk to making calls. And so all that discomfort that we feel is not really based in reality. Number 11, you're interrupting them, expect pushback. Now, what this means is when you make a prospecting call to a prospect, they are in the middle of stuff. And so there's a good chance that when you use your script, they're going to say something like, this isn't a great time. Can you try me back later? Or I'm not interested. Or what's this all about? You need to expect that and have contingencies in place that allow you to break through that and push through that. Because if you're not expecting the pushback, you're going to get killed on that call. You need to expect that they're not going to be delighted to hear from you because you're interrupting them. Again, that's okay, but you have to be ready for it. So there are 11 quick and easy phone sales techniques to set great appointments. And if you enjoyed this video, then have an awesome free training on the data-driven approach to closing more sales in today's marketplace. Just click right here to get registered instantly. Seriously, just click right here. This is an in-depth training that will help you close more sales at higher prices, all while generating more meetings. Also, if you got some value, please like this video below on YouTube and be sure to subscribe to my channel by clicking my face right about here to get access to a new video just like this one each week.